Hello, my name is Mia Porter, and the minority at risk youth group that I've chosen to talk about today is homeless LGBTQ youth. 40% of homeless youth identify as LGBTQ, which is lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer questioning. They end up on the street due to rejection at home, by family members, friends, harassment at home. Also, because of the harassment at home, they might just run away altogether. And it might not be due to rejection, but due to harassment and discrimination. From an article from the Office of Justice Department official website, LGBTQ youth are at a high risk for sexual assault and sexual exploitation. So they experience a lot of sexual situations on the street that might not be consensual, or they may turn to prostitution in order to provide a means of money and provide shelter and all other sorts of ways to survive on the street. LGBTQ homeless youth also are at a high risk for drug use and abuse, and they turn to drugs and alcohol when they are on the streets in order to cope with situations, in order to just deal with what is going on and try to get by without, turning to suicide in some cases. They are also at a high risk for developing mental disorders such as schizophrenia, depression, and bipolar disorder. And they are at a high risk for suicide and self-harm. Because they end up on the street, their risk increases because, when you're on the street and you have nothing, they sometimes feel like they have, no other, sources, there's no other way to survive, there's no point in living, so they do tend to commit suicide or to self-harm themselves. Now, the organization that I've chosen to talk about is the Happy Hippie Foundation. The Happy Hippie Foundation was founded in 2014 by the big entertainer Miley Cyrus. It focuses on specifically helping homeless LGBTQ youth, and it often partners with My Friend's Place to provide shelter, food, clothes, and other services for LGBTQ youth. It was originally inspired by Leila Alcorn, who committed suicide when she was a teenager. Leila Alcorn was a transgender female who, because of her family's rejection and bullying at school, she committed suicide because she felt she did not have the support that she needed. And Miley Cyrus said that when she heard her story, she had wished that there was, a organization that Leila could have reached out to and talked to, and had not turned to suicide as her last resort. So Miley Cyrus really built the foundation based off of her story, so that other LGBTQ individuals would not have to turn to suicide, or would have resources to turn to in order to help them with their sexual identity, with their transition, with all of it. So the Happy Hippie Foundation provides support services, education and employment needs, and aid in certain crises and situations. So, for example, when the Pulse nightclub shooting occurred, the Happy Hippie Foundation offered counseling to LGBTQ individuals following the shooting. So anyone that was affected by the shooting, anyone in need, anyone that felt vulnerable and scared, they provided counseling services to them so that they could help them feel safer, help them feel better, help them know that everything would be okay and that everything would be fine. Also, in crises, the Happy Hippie Foundation has reported that they had donated over 40,000 meals, 20,000 snacks, and 40,000 pairs of socks and underwear to homeless youth across America, which is very, every little bit helps, and that's really, good to know that they are truly out there. All their donations 100% of the donations go to helping the LGBTQ youth and providing food and shelter and education programs to them. So when it comes to reforms on the issue of homelessness for LGBTQ youth, I think it's good. The best way that we can help is to provide better resources for the homeless youth and implement programs that can help them move on and maintain a healthy lifestyle after they have been either kicked out or rejected in everything that they go through. A quote from the recommendations of the LGBTQ subcommittee, which is another peer-reviewed journal that I found, was that they are conducting webinars, pro and pre-test, and implementing other programs and education programs for their workers and for the workers in the criminal justice system. And they're using training and technical assistance so that social workers, judges, attorneys, and all the people that LGBTQ youth interact with in the criminal justice system so that they are able to provide more assistance to the LGBTQ youth, and they're able to talk to them with understanding and tolerance and all stuff, so that they can efficiently work them through the process as painlessly as possible without discrimination or harassment or any other kinds of stuff like that. So I think that in all, the Happy Hippie Foundation really supports LGBTQ youth, and I can see after doing research that the criminal justice system and the other organizations are really working to help the LGBTQ youth and really and the homeless, and really just making it so that it's easier for them to get off the street, get into education programs, get jobs, move on, stop, help them get over their addictions, all of this stuff, so that they can live healthier lives even after they've been rejected by their family or their friends, so that they're able to move on and just be, live happy, normal lives like, everyone wants. So I think their progress is improving, and with time it'll make a big dent in the world and in the homeless youth, and so that LGBTQ individuals will not have to end up on the streets. They'll have other resources to help them. So when it comes to transitioning from leaving their homes and finding other places. So I think it's a really big help. The resources that I used for this presentation are the Human Rights Campaign, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration, their official website, two peer-reviewed journals, which are the recommendations of the LGBTQ subcommittee, and the Official Justice Department, a journal from the Official Justice Department on LGBTQ youth, homelessness, and sex survival acts. And I also got a lot of my information about the Happy Hippie Foundation from the Happy Hippie Foundation official website.